All right. I am so excited for today. Well, I shouldn't say excited. We tend to default to that word. I am though. Enthusiastic. That's
There
the
you go.
actual word. I am enthusiastic about what God is going to do through today's Lead and Leb, just because I know the preparation behind it and all the scribble notes. And I know the perfect timing of conversations that have happened today and boxes that have happened today, right? That have led up to this moment where we are together, you guys. Like really, y'all, let's just do this. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, we are ready to receive and for the Holy Spirit to do something awesome through all of us, not just through me, through all of us as we listen, right? And as I pick up on y'all, because I get to see your faces, thank you for being on live, right? Because we need that interaction. All right, so let's start with our 3 scripture verses. Seed, feed, lead. I love that. I have to tell you, that was inspired by Dawn Dunn. She took it from a different direction, seed, feed, lead, but it's all good. We just need a little sometimes. All right, so Romans 12:12, rejoice in hope. Y'all, rejoice in hope. Be patient under trial and persevere in prayer. Okay, that's like, I'm just gonna tell you, Romans 12:12 is like the theme for, I think, today. Okay, Luke 12:12, the Holy Spirit will teach you at that moment all that should be said. Okay, can I take that back? That is actually also what just happened to me about like 10 minutes ago. Okay, so woo-woo. I love it. Living the word, literally living the word. That is what we want to do, right? And 1 Corinthians 12:12, the body is one and has many parts, but all the parts, many that they are one body. So today we are one body. The 4 of y'all live. Thank you, my live people, and the recording people, whoever you are out there, right? Just so thankful for all of our uniqueness that we bring together to the table. Our family of Mary Kay leaders. So our X theme for the month, today's the last day you get to hear the X theme for September. Is that wild? Is that wild? Right? I know that. I see some jaws dropping. How is this the last Wednesday of September? Exude with curiosity. I'm thinking today it was more like this morning, mid-morning, late morning. It was more of kind of a desperate curiosity about what am I going to teach and share today, Lord? I'm very curious. I'm really waiting, right? So exude with curiosity, open your eyes and mind to new ideas and opportunities that may come from unexpected places. It's never too late to start new. So, oh, yay, more and more people are popping on. Yay, Noelle, we are glad you're here. We got 2 people calling from cars. I love it. Oh, Christina's not in her car anymore. That was a quick trip. Oh, I love it. Okay, so we are going to just jump right in. You guys normally have stuff kind of like outlined and typed and blah, 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 but I'm not kidding. Like I'm just gonna be very transparent. So I was literally, I'm just gonna tell you like this. I was literally an hour ago crying in the shower, like just letting it out, like the boohoo, the snot, all that good stuff, right? And still didn't know what I was gonna teach. I'm like, what am I doing in the shower? Right? But the Holy Spirit will teach you at that moment all that should be said, right? The shower is also my thinking space. Everyone has different places where the thoughts just flow, and mine just happened to be in the shower. So when I got out of the shower, finally, when I got all that out, then it was like, I gotta scribble. Yeah, look at all the scribbles. Oh my gosh. I mean, like they were just scribbled down. So this is what I want to start off sharing with you. I am proud of you. Sometimes you just got to hear it, right? And maybe not just hear it, but know it. And I want you to know every word that comes out of my mouth, it is not fluff. It's just not, oh, it sounds good. Oh, this will pump them up. Seriously, from the depth of down below, I am proud of you. It takes courage to even say, I want to be a better leader, not just a leader, but I want to grow in my leadership. It takes planning to figure out even getting on something like this live, right? When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. I mean, those are all like for real things that happen, day to day. So I'm just proud of you for where you are now. I know that all of us, because we are human, have in our minds where we want to be, right? And you right now are obeying the call to lead, or else you wouldn't be on here, right? So you are following your call, and that is something to be proud of, because not everyone follows the call. Makes me think of Frozen 2. Right? When she's being called, by the siren-y sound or whatever. And she wants to say, I know we can't, there's life lessons in Disney movies, whatever. But, she's like, I don't hear you. I don't want to listen to you. But eventually she follows the call. And you guys are following it right now, just by being on. So, and I know it's not always easy, right? And so even for me, part of that crying in the shower was just the part that's not easy of leadership. And there's different parts that don't make leadership easy, right? But the part I want to focus on for you guys really has to do with what has come to be known, the phrase is the gap, okay? The gap of where you are and where you really can see yourself being, right? Like I'm sure you have in your mind, because you've been on this journey, right? Leaders are going to a destination, they have visions, they have dreams, they have goals, whatever. So you already have a concept of your mind of how you want to be, not just what you want to have accomplished, have as a title, have in your bank account, all those things that are like a material goal. I think the part that sometimes hurts when we're looking at this gap is, am I being it, right? Am I being the person that you're calling me to be? And I think almost that's where I don't know, maybe I'm just talking for me, but I think sometimes it's easy to kind of be like, okay with not having the haves yet, because they are kind of more of the material world. And when we go spiritual, we can go, it's okay, right? But the part that's hard is the being. So, but it could also be the material also, like I really thought by now we would be, on that family vacation because my bank account would have this much and we would have that freedom, I mean, and that is totally fine, because we are of this world too. We're not, but we are, we're in this world, right? And we know this is our place to make the difference. So how do we bridge that gap? And even as I wrote that down, how do we bridge it? How do we get from here to here, even when it feels so far away? And I think that I love words. I'm a wordy kind of person because they have connotations, which is emotion, right? They create emotions in us. And bridge is really the easy way, right? A bridge is like, how can I bridge the gap and get from here to here? I could just build it and whoop, and then I could pop over there. But it really isn't a bridge, right? It's about doing, well, I guess this part stays here, right? And us getting closer and closer. Right? And what are we doing on those like stepping stones? And one of the things to just embrace is getting better than what it was before. Is what I'm doing better than what I did before? Are my habits now better than what they were before? Because I think as driven people, we tend to just like only see where we are, right? And then like, that's our reality and it's still the gap. But sometimes just to look back, not to always stay in the back, because that is also biblical too. Quit looking back at the plow, right? But to just, for the pat on the back, is it better? Or maybe also, maybe not just the pat on the back of where we are right now, is it better than what it was? We're gonna take a different spin. Because really what we want to do is not really okay, yeah, look back, whatever, for a second and feel good about where you are. But the reality is we're still looking ahead and we still have the gap. So maybe the question of the courage that'll take to take the next step. And for us, maybe it's calling that person that intimidates, or sticking with 5 phone calls after you did 2, and it'd be okay to stop with 2, right? Or get whatever it is, right? When we're trying to bridge that gap, sometimes we stop because it looks so far, it looks so hard that we think, well, this is not going to do it. This is not going to be big enough. It's not going to be good enough. I have this vision. Honestly, I've been working on this video, right? Y'all know. And my perfectionism, I have to always find my perfectionism. But when I heard this phrase this morning, she was actually, I love this class. And I love that it's on Wednesdays because y'all know, I'm just someone who needs a little whoop, and then I can create a whole lesson out of it, right? Give me a flyer and I'll make it mine, right? So she was talking about a house project, and she said, a lot of people just stop. They don't do the house project because they have this vision in their mind of what they want it to be. And if they don't have all the money to get there, or they don't have all the tools, or they don't have all the time, they just don't do it. And so they stay where they are. She said, but my thought is, I know I'm not a professional, whatever painter, but if I can paint or whatever, and it looks better than what it was, then it's improvement. And then, so it was really that phrase is, can I make it better than what it is? That's the step forward, right? That's the progress. That's the stepping stone. It's not perfect. It's not the vision. It's not what I ultimately want, but I just took a step forward, right? So I really want y'all to ask yourself, maybe afterwards, I'm always like giving y'all these little challenges of, reflection, but maybe think about different areas of your life. What am I doing better? Or how am I thinking better, right? And it could be even something simple like the 2020 sheet. Just a little plug for why we do 2020 tracking sheets. It's so that you can see the better. You can see the progress, right? Or the not progress and go, what am I doing? My goal is to get better. Come on, So, okay. So there's this really cool sheet that I don't know where it came from, but all through my leadership, I guess I could send it to you guys, but I'm just going to kind of give you the overall. But the title of it is The Psychological Secrets to Keep Working. Because isn't that what we're talking about, right? The gap looks big. You go, oh, so big. Right? So how do we what's this psychological, because it's all in our heads, right? To keep working. So I'm going to list 5 areas of success, right? That everyone is very familiar with. And these are kind of like 5 topics that get taught a lot. One is vision. You got to know where you're headed. So 1, vision. 2, skills. There's the basics, right? In our business, the basic business skills that are going to get us there. 3rd is the why. You can have a vision, right? And you can paint that pretty picture, but why? Because sometimes when that why is missing, right? We go, oh gosh, I don't have, it sounds great, but what's your personal drive, the why, the need to get there? The resources is the 4th thing, right? So that could be any number of resources. You may think time, you may think money, you may think people, where I live, whatever. And then the plan, the actual doing consistently, right? Would you agree that those 5 things, powerhouse, right? When you've got a vision, you know your why, you're equipped with skills, got the resources, maybe it's the products, maybe whatever, and you've got the consistent plan that's being executed. That's the ideal, right? Success. We're in motion. And really, y'all, it can go in and out. Like I can see in my past, right? Because the trek up is not like this, y'all know. Hopefully this kind of goes up as it's going up and down. That's the goal too, right? But there's the seasons where they're all working together. But let me give you 5 feelings. Okay, so these might be 5 feelings that you're feeling maybe in this gap as you're looking over. 1, confusion, right? The question marks everywhere, confusion. Anxiety, frustration, false starts, go, right? And then I don't know the word, I don't like the word that they have there, but like this, eventually it'll get like, not lackadaisical, not lazy, but just kind of this sense, a sense of eventually. I don't know what word defines that, but y'all got that? Like that can also be an emotion. Okay, so those 5 actually match up with the 5 pieces of success. And so really those 5, if you feel like, okay, I don't have all of those things and I'm not in this crazy success mode. Woo, look what I just did with my hair. Y'all just got out of the shower, so it's wet. Woo. Woo-wee. Okay, sorry. Okay. So just pick one. If you're feeling all five, then we're like, okay, well, let's just start with one. But which one tends to be at the top? Confusion, anxiety. Eventually, we'll get there. Time is forever kind of thing. Frustration or false starts. So when you pick one, it's actually going to give you a clue as to which pieces of success to work on, because you can work on all of those. So if it's confusion, if that's what you chose, hopefully you already chose one because I'm delaying talking for a second. Everyone got one kind of picked out? Yes, head nods. All right. If it's confusion, then vision is what needs to be worked out. Okay, vision. So how do you work on vision? Maybe listen to seminar speeches, set aside time to dream, to listen to dream. It takes time to do that, right? To rediscover the passion, the purpose, the vision. Well, maybe not the purpose, because that's later. Okay, if it's anxiety, that's a skills thing, right? I don't know about, right? Like, but if you've got the skills, you're like, okay, I got confidence in what I need to do here. And you're going to lessen the anxiety. So what is that? That's just a little bit more studying, right? Or brushing up on skills, a book, sell, share, scripts, all the things. Okay. Eventually we'll get there. Time is continuous. That would be your why, right? Because isn't that when they say on their deathbed, what is that saying, right? Like, I can't remember. Anyway, but like, I wish I had, right? I didn't realize I didn't have all the time in the world. I wish I had pursued. I wish I had gone for those things that were on my heart. They're basically saying, I wish my why. I didn't think it would eventually get there. I needed to work now. So that would be kind of the same thing, seminar, speeches, goals, dreams, but really a little bit deeper to discover what does that have to do with me, right? And how are these things connecting? That again takes some thinking, processing time. All right, frustration. A little bit different than confusion and anxiety, right? But frustration might be the resources. Okay, so if it's a frustration of I never have enough time, okay, well then let's relook at time as a resource. That might be something to work out. We can talk through that. Money, I want more product, but I don't have enough money to get the inventory, right? Okay, so that again is just a problem to solve, because what do leaders do? Leaders are problem solvers, right? And so maybe if you're like, okay, what is the frustration? Let's narrow it down and then figure out how can we work on that resource. And then false starts. So zoom, eek, zoom, eek. Well, that's the last one, the consistent plan, right? Is there a plan that we're following? What is the accountability? Do I need maybe an accountability person to that plan? Maybe I'm good if I know it, but maybe no one else knows it. So I'm easy to kind of back off of it. So maybe that might help with your, that's what it is, gap analysis. That's the phrase, right? So as we're analyzing the gap and what's the holdup here, but the key is it's the forward growth and progress. Because when we feel like I just stepped forward, okay, that was a good thing, right? Because growth is the goal, progress is the goal. We can see that the gap is getting less and less. And sometimes it's tough because we're like, okay, I did those things. Was that enough? Because the gap seems so big, right? If you ever ask that, just every time I do that, I think, was that little facial enough? That I just did? Because how is one face going to get me closer to this big position of national sales director? They'll go, oh, not enough. Why even bother? We do that. We're emotional. So I always go back to this company has been around for 60 years and the basic plan has not changed. Yes. Every face, that's how they built it. They built with faces, but I will be, again, today is like completely honest, transparent. Not that I'm never completely honest or whatever, but it's just kind of like showing it all. So I had two faces. I had a face on Monday, I had a face on Tuesday. I know for me, parties is what I want. Parties is what I need. Parties is what I desire. Parties is my consistent plan of action, and I'm like, those are faces. Well, and they were great. And one face was fantastic, just like Christina, right? Like at the end of it, you're like, okay, what's the good that came out of it? All right, that was all good, Well, the face yesterday, fantastic. New customer, sales, when I say fantastic, I'm like, it was good connection. She is more confident with how to apply, makeup, and she's still deciding on what she wants, so technically not sales yet, but after it was over, I'm like, why do I feel like, what was that, Gina? Because even though I know those things to be true, and she's high as a kite, like she's happy, happy, happy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was skills, you guys. Skills. Okay, so you ready? Pink Cadillac director, leader of a 500,000 unit. I'm like, we sat down and went straight to CC Cream and brow pencil. I had no opening. I had a really weird kind of closing, and she knows nothing about the opportunity. And this is what really kind of alerted me. I suggested getting together again with her friends. It wasn't even a question. I mean, like, I'm thinking, I tell my people all the time, just ask. And so in the moment, I'm like, I'm just asking. And then afterwards, I thought, no, you were suggesting. You didn't ask her anything. You weren't even looking her in the eye when she said that. And so then I realized, all right, the basic skills, go practice them again, Gina. What's your strong opening? What's your strong closing? You got to practice them. It's been a long time. I mean, I've been having faces and parties through it all, right? But I mean, like, okay, it's a skills thing. And I know that this all grows not just because we teach people brow pencil, which we do, and that empowers them, but this is a business. I want growth. I have a goal. You need a strong opening and a strong closing. Okay, problem solved. Now I know what to work on. Okay, so that's how that psychological gap works. So I do want to share a few things with you guys. I'm looking at the time. We're good. Okay. Because the Bible speaks, the word is live. Okay, so so Matthew 3, we'll start at 13. So you have a little background. This is Jesus going to get baptized. Y'all, I have never read this sentence quite the way. Isn't that amazing when you read the Bible? So it stands out to me. You go read stuff, it's different things will stand out to you. But who knows? Maybe this will help someone. Later, Jesus, coming from Galilee, appeared before John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John tried to refuse him with the protest. Yeah, have you ever protested the one up above? John tried to refuse him with the protest. I should be baptized by you, yet you come to me? Okay, so he's like, this isn't the way I think it's supposed to go, is basically what he's saying, right? And Jesus answered, in my Bible, this is what it says, give in for now. Give in. Quit holding on so tight what you think it's supposed to look like. He said, give in for now. We must do this if we would fulfill all of God's demands. Oh, okay, so like that was like a ton of, are you giving in, Gina? It doesn't look like what you think it's going to look like, but I kind of got a big picture going on here. And it doesn't say God's suggestions. It says God's demand. I'm like, We're just gonna let that one sink in for a second. Okay, so then it made me think, Mary is approached by the angel, right? So John just protested to Jesus and said, this is not what it's supposed to look like. Well, Mary doesn't have a vision of what salvation is supposed to look like. She's going on her merry, faithful way. And then the angel says, guess what I have for you? And she's afraid, right? Like, well, that sounds really big. Are you sure you got the right girl? Because that sounds really big. But what does she say? Yes, when it feels scary, think of Mary. Y'all, I'm just like penning that phrase. I just love it. Okay, and then the last example I read yesterday. Actually, I referred to it in my Tutu Tuesday, not very well, but on my Tutu Tuesdays, I've learned like record, go, don't even look at it again, just upload and move on. Okay, but this one is Luke 9:51. Okay, so I'm actually going to redo the whole reflection off of this because this is part of yesterday's reading and then my Word Among Us reflection. But so this is approaching before Passion time. As the time approached when he was to be taken from this world, he, Jesus, firmly resolved to proceed toward Jerusalem. Firmly resolved. Y'all, he knows what's about to happen. And as we know, it ain't pretty, right? But he firmly resolved. Y'all, this was so good. I usually just read excerpts. I'm like, okay, what little sentence can I pull out of this? And I'm like, I just got to read the whole dang thing. It's so good. So his public ministry had begun in Galilee, but now the days for Jesus to be taken up were fulfilled. He would head for Jerusalem, preaching, teaching, and healing along the way. That's important also. Ultimately, he would accomplish what his Father had sent him to do. Through his death and resurrection, he would save the world. Let me back up a little bit. He would head for Jerusalem, preaching, teaching, and healing along the way. Y'all, what do we just talk about? Faces. Doing faces and sharing along the way. Okay. Luke writes that Jesus resolutely determined, literally set his face toward the holy city. Jesus knew exactly what lay ahead, and yet he did not flinch. Even if he were dreading what was to come, he would not turn back. Have you ever dreaded doing something you knew God was asking of you? There are times when following God's will seems to be difficult, if not impossible. Perhaps it's a sin pattern you struggle with. Maybe you see a need that you don't have the time or energy to fulfill. You might be tempted to throw up your hands in discouragement and give up. But what if you were resolutely determined to do it anyway? What if you made what God was asking of you something you wanted just as much as he does? The big picture wanting. That's what Jesus did. He didn't just assent to the Father's will. He was wholeheartedly committed to it. He wanted to save us from sin and death, no matter what it cost him. Completely others focused, completely invested in the big picture, no matter what happened to him. So how do you become more determined to accomplish something God wants, especially when you don't want to do it or don't know how you will do it? I think that's the biggest one for us right here, right? How? There's this gap. What in the world? You can start by being honest with the Lord. Share your struggle. Then ask him to help you see the situation through his eyes. Ask him to give you his mercy and compassion, both for the people involved and for yourself. Finally, ask and keep asking for the grace to be as resolute as Jesus was and to desire his will more than your own. This prayer always pleases the Lord. You will still struggle, as Jesus did in Gethsemane, right? He was crying blood, right? Tears of blood. You might also stumble from time to time, but don't let it deter you. Just get up and try once again to follow your Savior who set his face toward Jerusalem, just so that he could one day call you his own. Now y'all know why I had to read the whole thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, right? So good. So this is all very big. This is all very big. I have one more thing to read you, but we're going to bring it back into perspective. So in my God Calling book, I will just read a little bit from that one. But from today, it says, much that you must accept in life is not to be accepted as being necessary for you personally. It can be for you personally, but accepted as I accepted it, as Jesus, this is Jesus talking, as Jesus accepted it, to set an example, to share in the sufferings and difficulties of mankind. Right? So sometimes maybe we're going through something, and I know I've heard Diana Polanco said this, and I'm like, yes, she's a national sales director. I'm like, I feel the same way too. Like sometimes when you're going through something, you're like, I'm going through this right now because it can be used later to help someone. And you say, I understand, I've gone through that too, or I have felt that way too, right? So yes, it can be for us now, but it can also be for the others. You are called to save and share in a very special way. The way of sorrows, if walked with me, is a path kept sacred for my nearest and dearest, those whose one desire is to do all for me. Oh, right? So we can embrace the suffering, embrace the, what is that phrase? Embrace the suck, right? So, but here's the perspective. Jesus saved the world. Okay, we're not called to be like literally Jesus, right? Like he already did that. Okay, we are, you ready? I have this sign hanging up or posted on my, like I sit at the computer and I can see it right there. This is what we are doing. Mary Kay Ash said, let me read it word for word. If just one more woman today discovers how great she really is, it will be a great day. Y'all, we are planted here in your house, in your town, in your family, in your community to be that to the person. And if the person isn't in front of you, if it isn't that facial yesterday with the new person, then we go find the people, right? That's how we just ask. That's how it grows, because we know that this is where we are planted, right? And so that's what we're called to do, is to use this vehicle of where we are planted. The last thing I want to share with you, oh my gosh, I'm taking up the full time, but it's all good because this is what he told me to tell you guys. Okay, so I also found when I was searching early, I mean, I wasn't like waiting till the last minute to prepare. I've been searching and searching, like, what do you want me to share on this day? But I found this, it's saved in my computer from a long, long time ago. And it was called The Big Aha. It's by Ann Bertel. I'm not gonna read the whole article, but she basically is talking about what's the difference between working at business and a hobby. And I think it goes a little bit more than what she is saying, but I'm going to start with her example. And I love that it's a bee. She says, the goal of the honeybee is to make honey. As it flaps its wings, it pollinates the garden. It does not focus on pollinating the garden. It focuses on the honey, and it happens to benefit the garden in the process of making honey. Okay, interesting, right? So what she says is, what's the difference between a hobby and a business? And this is getting it really down to basics, but it might make you feel a little uncomfortable, but I think if it does make you uncomfortable, then that usually is a sign to maybe search a little bit deeper. The goal of a hobby maybe is to help others, the feeling, right? The joy, the fun, the helping others. The benefit of a hobby, this hobby in particular, is you make some profit along the way. Some people treat it like a hobby and don't make any profit, but if you're at a certain level, you'll make a little money along the way. The goal of a business is to profit, right? And if that makes you feel a little uncomfortable because it's about money, money buys choices, money gets, right? If your goal is to create a way of life for your family, it's probably going to take money. So it might not be for the sake of being rich, right? But profit is the goal, okay? The goal of a business is to profit, just like the honeybee. What's the benefit? Helping others along the way, sharing love. How amazing that we're in a business that can be a business for real profit, for real profit. But I highlighted this to share. But we get to do it in a way that honors your values, respects your faith, and enhances the lives of women around you in the process of treating it like a business. So that really made me think, okay, am I treating this like a business day to day? Am I treating my goal that I want to with my emotions get there, right? But it's going to take the business growing to actually get there. So, and some of you watching, you can lead. I mean, this is lead and love. You can lead a hobby, right? I mean, you could, if golf is the hobby, someone could lead a golf team or whatever to be better at golf. I mean, so really just have to be real with what's your intention here. And that's just the clarity of the vision. It's everything that we just talked about, right? If the vision is to be a great hobby, make a little extra money, then be okay with that. Then you can kind of listen to all this and not feel guilty if you're not, you know, whatever, a star consultant and blah, 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 right? Although I think you can be a star just doing a hobby also. But you know what I'm saying? But when you're clear on what you're doing, and if it's a business or a hobby, then you can filter all of it and you can keep moving forward. So, and I'll just tell you specifically, I mean, yes, I want everyone to grow in leadership, but my goal is leadership with directors. I so badly want to find the women who want this for a business because of all of the pollinating that will happen along the way, right? But also to pass on the business to other women, right? And so I just pray that you guys can discern that call, right? Is it for the business? Is it for the hobby? And what I'm going to share with you is a little fun. As I was looking at what to wear, I'm like hopping out of the shower. I just got through all my tears. I got to put on some quick makeup or whatever. And I'm like, what do I put on? And so the shirt, you can't see it, but it's the NSD never stop dreaming. And I thought that's what I want to share with you guys. NSD, never stop dreaming, is kind of like a common, that's what it stands for, National Sales Director. That's the reality, right? But I thought there's different phrases. Never stop dreaming. That's all like the heart stuff. Like, oh, never stop dreaming. It's so true. We got to keep dreaming. There's also one that Pam Shaw did it's a really kind of famous CD among all the leadership directors, but it's called Now, Stand, and Deliver. Now, stand, and deliver. And so what does that have to do with the work? Like, you can dream all the rest of your life, but you better stand up and deliver something, right? So it kind of had to do with the work. Well, just recently I was listening to a recording, and she didn't even say this is what National Sales Director stands for. She didn't say NSD. She just was talking. Like, she said this and just kept talking. But when she said it, it's Thea Elvin. It's one of the best recordings. It's called Never Give Up. But as she was talking and she said this, y'all, it was like, y'all know those movies about like decoders and how like they take a piece of paper and the letters just go, like, I'm telling you, she's just talking, and it was like, just like rose out of her voice. But she said, I took a non-negotiable stand for my dreams. And then she keeps talking, and I'm like, that was the beautiful combination of never stop dreaming and now stand and deliver. Y'all, it's both. Non-negotiable, stand, work it for my dreams. Oh, I embraced it. I'm like, woo, I love it. But I just want to share some other t-shirts, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, we're like totally done. This is your inspiration. But be the message for other people, but sometimes the message is for you. If you're going to stay inside all day, right? Every time you walk by the mirror, confident and courageous, right? These girls are on fire. That's a past t-shirt. What's another one? We can send ourselves messages. We rise by lifting others. Y'all know that one. I love this one. That's what we do. Be the message board to yourself. This one, oh, that was the perfect one to end it on. She believed she could, so she did, right? So my shirts are your inspiration. But be you. Oh my gosh, I had more to share, but it was just the closing stuff, but it's already 12. You don't care. It's recording. If you need to hop off, you can hop off, whatever. But the last thing I want to share is, I usually wrap it up focusing on the numbers, right? Don't forget 2020 and what we're going for. But this is when we look at the numbers, we're wrapping up the last quarter, you guys. The last quarter. The first 3 months of the seminar year. So this is what we're going to do. We think about it from a sports. All right, it's a quarter. What's going well? How am I readjusting? Because daggone it, October, November, December is going to rock. Okay, so what can I do to make October, November, December rock? And so here's the real closing inspiration. So Christina left me a box right before this. Like, I'm listening to it like 5 minutes before. And she's like, I had some red boots. I've never worn before, but I needed some power today. So I put on my red boots. I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. That's called lead self. She knew she needed something. So that empowers me. I feel like I'm on fire, right? With the red boots. So I love that. I'm like, that is lead. There's a whole lot of other things that she said too, but I'm like, that little piece even there among all the other things was leadership excellence, lead self. I know what I need. I know how I'm feeling. I'm implementing right now, right? So be you as you pursue your leadership. So for me, I'm just another little example. I have been struggling with advertising to my customers. What the heck am I doing for open house? Virtual, in person, what dates, when, how? I never have weekend. My weekends are all gone. I am not kidding. But starting this weekend, they're gone. I have no weekends, right? So I'm like, when am I going to do this? And I could not figure it out. But then I realized I'm just thinking outside the box, you guys. It doesn't have to look like anyone else. It just needs to be true to you. That's one of the things that Christina said. I know what I need for my schedule, so I'm being true to me, right? So I'm just going to tell you, we don't do it from open house. It's going to be called open mouth and open your eyes. If they are looking and talking to me, they get the discount. Because my thing is, from the open house when it started 20 years ago, was I wanted to connect. I wanted you to walk into my house so I could connect with you. Okay. It's not a sale for the sake of a discount. The sale part is to show appreciation. But what do I really want? I want to show appreciation, but I, Gina Beck, want to talk to you. I want to see you. I want to service you. So you know how you get it? You talk and see me. So it's gonna be a whole, I don't know what the timeline is gonna be, but it's gonna be a long timeline. I mean, really, what am I doing? Just make a kind of funny spin on customer service calls or appointments, but that's what I'm excited about. And so be patient with yourself as you're trying to figure out you, right? But then once you have that aha, once you have that muse, put on the red boots, run with the idea. That's a step forward. And then that's how you figure it out. So, all right, okay, let me pause. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love you so much. Okay, thank you. Y'all know I was crying a little while ago. I needed the energy. I needed in leadership, when you've got a following, you're better for you. Because if y'all haven't been here, I might still be crying in the shower.